Hello everyone. Today on Binky's Gaming Thoughts, I conclude the Suit of Staves. And a good thing, it's kind of a grim suit, but we're in the court royals today. So it's bound to be a little less demonizing. So we'll be looking at the page, the knight, the queen, and the king of staves. So page of staves. The image is of coal, one becoming more spirit. For all the other decks, it is called the Page of Wands. So in terms of significance, once again, as Cole is a boy or very young man, he easily represents and is associated with the page cards. Seeing as here he is a spirit connected more with the fade than with the material world, hence him being the page for the Suit of Staves. The card itself represents women aged 36 and younger, restlessness, new creative inspiration and new ideas, being zealous and lively, curious and sensual, fun-loving, self-expression, welcoming challenges, loyalty, long-term plans, etc. If Cole is a spirit, he becomes fun-loving and has a new zeal and appreciation for his spirit self. When reversed, the card represents petty rivalries, impatience, end of freedom, resistance, restraint, self-destruction, flattery from a false friend, being easily influenced, delinquency, vampirism in terms of energy vampires, etc. Let's have a look at the symbolism of the image of the card. Engulfed by a body black, he stands with his left hand on his breast. It is a show of submission as he submits to his true and original form, his spirit identity. Yet he is not unmaterial, though he shines the purity of white, as though fade-like smoke or flames rise from his body, a reminder of his abilities as a spirit and connection to the fade. Yet he retains his tangible form when he needs to. He can swap in and out as he pleases and be pinned to this world without losing his freedom as a spirit. In his eyes, a silver flicker reveals his mercifulness and understanding, as he can feel the hurt of others and aid them to heal or ease their pain. What I think this means for the future of Cole. Cole's future, he will have a connection with perhaps beings from the fade and may be able to learn some truths, important information perhaps. It will be interesting to see the interaction in a future game with Cole as a spirit. What I think this means for the future of Dragon Age, same as before with the Suit of Swords, his ability to read minds and connect and being connected to the fade may be what is needed to help people like Solus and learn more about important people and other things surrounding that, The Knight of Staves. The image is of Calpernia. For all the other decks, it is called the Knight of Wands. In terms of significance, so Calpernia. She is a mage. She is from Tevinter. She is Venatori. And she works for the Elder One, or did, Corypheus. A knight makes sense, and the Suit of Staves is where she belongs. The card itself represents men aged 36 and older, masculinity, leadership, authority, a time for action, an adventurer, departure, change of residence, exploring the unknown, fearlessness, practicality, focus, etc. I think that you'll find that Calpernia embodies a few of the reversed aspects of the card, which are doubt and hesitation, disorganized travel, falsity, dependency, poor health, conflict with a male, a hatred for failure, jealousy at work, interrupted activity, apathy, weak vision, being easily swayed and led, etc. Let's have a look at the symbolism of the card itself. A pale moon shines behind her face, contrasting a dark and gloomy sky. Hands resting on each other, she submits her magical power to her new master. The cool blue of the moon reflects the loyalty she has falsely put into him. Her eyes look up towards the place where the fate is known to exist. A circlet in the center of her forehead, somber and dull, reveals the loss of divine power and the closing of the third eye as she becomes blind to the truth and follows her master, obeying and believing a false god. What I think this means for the future of Calpernia? I don't think it matters whether Calpernia is alive or not, to be honest. She represents those who follow blindly, unquestioningly, and have, sadly, turned to an evil influencer. Her story is a lesson, as anyone can be betrayed if unable to see the truth. And what does this mean for the future of Dragon Age? We may end up trusting an ally so much, and they will ultimately betray us if we are expendable. A new character. I'm talking about a new character. The Queen of Staves. The image is of Morrigan. For all the other decks, it is called the Queen of Wands. The Morrigan is an Irish goddess who often appears in the form of a raven. Morrigan from Thedas transforms into a black raven when going to stop Abelas on his way to destroy the Well of Sorrows. Also, I don't know if any of you made the link between this Morrigan and one of the other Morrigans, but she bears one of the many names of the enchantress of the myth and legend of Camelot. From the Arthurian legend, Morgan Le Fay, Morgana, Morgaine, Morrigu, Morrigan. The Arthurian enchanter lived in the wilds after her exile from Camelot, and Morrigan is a witch of the wilds. Both mythical beings, the Morrigan, Irish goddess, and Morgaine/Morgana from the myths of Camelot, the Arthurian legend, bear symbols to our beloved character, Morrigan, which only makes sense that she be the Queen of Staves. And I feel she embodies aspects of both these mythical beings in one. The card itself represents women aged 36 and older, optimism, being practical and sincere, kindly, eloquent, insightful, channeling energy, independent, strong-willed, resolute, capable, socially adept, etc. The card defines Morrigan's greater aspect perfectly, I find. Reversed, the card represents wavering concentration, giving in too soon, being critical and irritable, insecure and jealous, unconfident, lack of stamina, living in the past, maternity maladies, etc. Let's have a look at the symbolism of the card itself. Purple and indigo dominate, being associated with the crown and third eye chakras respectively. Her human eyes are closed, yet she understands magic and the elemental and transformative nature of her connection to it. Indigo is also the color of intuition, and the night sky shines with stars to light up her face, for she must trust. Hands under her chin, she can feel the powerful magic that flows through her. The color of her cape represents wisdom and independence, and reflects the mystery that the Witch of the Wild is. What do I think this means for the future of Morrigan? She will be back. I'm pretty sure of it. She's independent, but when it matters, when she can help, when Thedas is at risk, or her mother is involved, she is at the heart of it. So for the future of Dragon Age, whether she drank from the Well of Sorrows or not, her knowledge in arcane magic and elven history will most likely be needed again, especially if we are to battle against Solus or try to convince him to change his mind. And lastly, the King of Staves. The image is of the Nightmare Demon, the fear demon in the Fade, known as Nightmare. For all the other decks, the card is called the King of Wands. The tarot card image itself, at first glance, doesn't look like any of the other tarot cards that exist outside this deck, sort of like the Envy Demon. However, it has the colors of the Fade and looks like a drawing tarot card-esque version of Nightmare, the Nightmare Demon from the Fade. So not just any fear demon, not the small fear demon that is master of the fear type demons, but the big, fat one. The fat part of that one demon, the Nightmare Demon, the one that oozes and is master and thus king of all demons. How'd you like the dramatization there? The card itself represents men aged 36 and younger, assertiveness, a mentor, honest, learned, conscientious, able to bring ideas to fruition, future-oriented, ambitious, self-oriented, charming, friendly, refined, self-assured, a compelling spirit, etc. It's an interesting turn of phrase, perhaps, that a demon is always first a spirit, and his fear is compelling? A compelling spirit that becomes a compelling demon. Okay, so when reversed, the card represents being austere, narcissism, lack of enthusiasm, being dogmatic, critical, thoughtless actions, shallowness, low energy, pessimism, fear of failure, blockages, sabotage, selfishness, difficult deliberations, etc. Let's have a look at the symbolism of the image of the card. As if great lights shining, extended by tendrils, it glows gray and faded green. It is sickly, and it lives in the fade. As though smoke rises from it, a deep black reflects its fat power, the darkness that will engulf its prey and torment them to their death. Multiple spirals swirl upon it, akin of the symbols of Uyghur. It is of comings and goings, indicating that much, if not everything, is caused by or derived by it. Events, actions, beliefs that come from its mere existence, and that much, if not everything, goes back to it, returning to its very primal nature. That much, if not all, leads to it. And it is the epitome of all fear. What do I think this means for the future of Nightmare? Of the Nightmare Demon? I'd like to think Hawk or whomever was left behind in the Fade succeeds in destroying it. But I believe it will use them. But we may learn its fate in Dragon Age 4 in the next game. Which leads me to what I think this means for the future of Dragon Age. We may learn what it is and what it was before and how it got there and became what it is now. Maker. Sorry. What's that? Oh yeah. Maker theories. And that's it for the suit of Staves. We only have one suit after this, but a few other follow-up tarot videos after that as well. So, once again, in the description below, the links to the decks, my transcripts of my notes, the books I use to determine what the cards represent, which are The Path of the Fool by Michael Sarian and The Greenwich Tarot Companion by Anne Mora. Throughout the week, I'll be releasing the music from this video. And so like this video if you like it. And subscribe if you're not already a subscriber. Hit the bell icon for notification. And I'll see you all soon. Masaranas. Be sure to check out some of my other stuff. Gaming, drinks, parodies, and some random silly stuff. You can also join in on the fun on Patreon for some exclusive content. Thanks for tuning in.